Hey, everyone. Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. Hope you're doing well. And it is time for another weekly track roundup where I go over what I felt were the best and worst tracks of the week. Now, man, I'm just really excited to get all these tracks out there. Of course, I have to mention a few things. Of course, our Amazon Associates link, which prior, on many an episode of the weekly track roundup, I have said that if you go on Amazon, you click on the link down there in the description box. If you live in the US, anything you buy, we get kickback from it. That has changed. Now the link works if you're in Canada, if you're in the UK. It actually works now for a bulk of mainland Europe, and it actually works for Japan as well. So anybody in any of those countries, you too can now participate in using the link, and anything you were going to buy anyway on Amazon, give us some kickback from it, supports the channel, supports this segment. And of course, we have a similar thing going on with the good people over at Turntable Lab, where if you click on the link down there in the description box, you can buy some audio equipment, turntables, speakers, colorful pressings of records that I've reviewed on the channel. Spoil yourself with a little bit of music, with the gift of music, and finally, the one and only The Needle Drop turntable slip mats are back. They are down there in the description box via the link to our support page. You can get them as is. You can get them initialed by yours truly with some review notes sent in the mail. As well, last time I sent stickers instead of review notes, and I forgot to swap out the review notes tag, and I apologize for the confusion over that. But this time I'm legitimately doing the review notes. It was just a sort of mistake on my part last time. And also, anybody who picks up one of these slip mats will be in the running to win one of two copies of the new Kendrick Lamar record on vinyl, and it is signed by Kendrick Lamar himself. I bought myself a signed copy. They sent them in a way where you have sort of the signed cover, which is an actual cover of it's like an actual cardboard, cover of the record, and then they actually sent the vinyl, the sealed vinyl with it. It's how mine came. It's how the two other copies came. I don't know what was their sort of decision-making process as far as doing it that way, but that's the way that they did it. So you do get the signed Kendrick cover. You do get a vinyl copy of D.R.A.M. If you are chosen at random to win. And again, the only way that you're put in the running to win that is if you pick up one of these slip mats. And that's it. Let's just get into the tracks now. Now that that's all been mentioned, I do want to shout out a Mark Kozlek live track featuring the Magik Orchestra, which is linked down there in the description box, which is very good. You guys should check it out. I didn't put it in any of these sections. I just wanted to shout it out. All right, let's get into the worst tracks of the week. The worst ones. The songs that kept me awake at night, that hurt my insides, the inside of my brain. First, our boy Tim Heidecker, whose music I've enjoyed on numerous occasions. Really loved that funny Mar-a-Lago track he had about Trump. He's been writing a lot of political tracks lately, a lot of tracks that have kind of reflected on the whole Trump presidency and Trump culture. And this new one of his, Too Dumb for Suicide, is easily the most, desperate for attention and edgy of all of his anti-Trump songs so far. I don't get exactly what he was trying to go for with this track. It just makes him seem like he's not writing an anti-Trump song, or that he's not writing a piece of political satire that's going to enlighten people or actually change anything. It just kind of seems like he's sort of self-aggrandizing here and trying to applaud himself for taking a shot at easily the dumbest president we've ever had in American history, but whatever. It's a pretty slow, mediocre, uninteresting song, to be honest. Equally unimpressed with the new Taylor Swift track, Call It What You Want. The lyrics on this cut are easily the grossest of all the songs that she's come out with thus far in this new album cycle. However, it's not like the lyrical topics have differed all that much from song to song. It seems like she's so grossly obsessed with the whole falling out that she had with Kanye West and Kim Kardashian a while back, and then she sort of disappeared out of the public eye for a little bit. And who cares? It happened so long ago. It was so dumb. It was so annoying. It was one of the most useless and trashy pieces of celebrity news to come out that year. And I'm not interested. who cares? Like, literally, who cares? Like, how can you be this obsessed with it that it sounds like you're basically conceptualizing this entire album around it? It's really dumb, and it's really petty. And just write a pop song people want to hear. Jesus Christ. Moving on from there, wasn't really that into the new D.R.A.M track, unfortunately, with production by Rubin. Musically and lyrically, I think there are a lot of good things going on, but there's just, I don't know, some really annoying production choices, and on top of it, D.R.A.M is chipmunked throughout the entire song, which I think takes away a lot of the eccentric and interesting qualities of his voice. He's already a very interesting rapper and singer. He doesn't need this extra weird little bit of effects on his voice to make things interesting, to make things, like, listenable. In fact, I would say the chipmunked effects on his voice, the pitch shifting, does the exact opposite. So didn't really care for it. Was just a really annoying cut. And minus points for having your phone in low power mode, which is terrible. Get your phone out of low power mode, please. You're at 44%. Stop messing up, dude. But that song is called Check Your Fabrics. It's linked down below. Maybe you'll like it more than me. Here are the tracks that I was kind of met on, sort of on the fence with, but certainly felt like they were worth shouting out and pointing some attention to. You guys might dig them a little bit more than me. Dug the new Young Fathers track. This track, titled Lord, is a very passionate, a very lo-fi, a very textured, and a very emotive and beautiful ballad. It's very nice on the ears. It's very pretty, even though it is a little rough. It is a little grimy. And it's a tad short. I do wish it was longer. However, there were kind of a lot of short lo-fi ballads off of their last full-length record. White Men Are Black Men Too, I believe it was titled. And, maybe this track will gain a little bit more weight with me as I hear it in the context of the rest of the album. Aesthetically, it sounds very nice. I just wish there was a little bit more to it. It's not that satisfying as a single song, in my opinion. But, again, could grow on me on the record. New Statik Selektah track. He has a record out on the way. And of course, this new single of his features Run the Jewels, Killer Mike, LP. They each have a verse on here. It's a smooth, jazzy instrumental. It's not the best I've heard from any of these guys, but it's cool to hear them colliding on a new single. Moving on from there, Pinegrove has a new track out, which a lot of people have been hyping up this single to me. The single is, titled Intrepid. And by the way, the Statik Selektah track is titled Put Jewels on It, featuring Run the Jewels. Haha. But this new Pinegrove track, Intrepid, have never really been able to get into Pinegrove, never really could get anything emotionally out of the band's music, and that just kind of continues for me here. Like, it just sounds like some very distant, somewhat lo-fi, very average emo and indie rock to my ears. I mean, some of the vocals are pretty emotive, but it's not really hitting me, and neither did the last record. I guess I'm just kind of pointing out to you guys that a new Pinegrove track is out. If, in fact, that sort of thing interests you, I don't think it's terrible. It just doesn't really do much for me. The new Miguel track is all right. It's not amazing, in my opinion, but I do think there are some significant improvements to his sound here when compared to a lot of the cuts from his last record. This is a pretty vibrant synth-funk track. Instrumentally, Miguel's vocals are very poppy, very expressive. He seems like he's really kind of dominating the track with, sort of like a boyish charm almost. It's got a good vibe. It's got a good energy, and looking forward to sort of seeing if he goes further in this direction. It's a pretty intriguing track, in my opinion. Didn't blow me away, but I thought it was decent. Godflesh has a new track out that pretty much is a little Godflesh by the numbers, not quite as abrasive and as heavy as a lot of their early stuff, but if you're looking for that nice, heavy, very ugly, grimy hit of industrial rock to kind of just shock you alive, you're going to want to hear this one. The single is titled, Post Self. And Flying Lotus has a new track out titled Post Requisite, which I thought was kind of an average song for him. I mean, there were some kind of quirky sound effects that were flowing throughout the track here and there, but for the most part, the bass lines, the beats, the way that they grooved, kind of the pace of the track, it all kind of seemed like, very much Flying Lotus by the numbers. But, who knows? This new album of his that he has on the way could totally blow me away and, provide some more interesting moments deeper into the record. DJ Premier has a new track out with Aesop Ferg that has kind of a boom bap quality to it, of course, because that's just DJ Premier's MO. Aesop Ferg does his best to adhere to that rap style, being from New York. It doesn't sound like it's that awkward for him to do so, even though he's not often recording on top of that type of production. I would just say what kind of holds this track back is that he's not the most lyrical MC on the block, and therefore over this kind of beat, the lyrical performance, it's just kind of okay, but it is cool to hear Aesop Ferg continuing to be versatile. It's cool to hear DJ Premier continuing to link up with young artists. I want to shout out the new CyHi the Prince track over here featuring Kanye West. Dat Side. Hook is decent. Kanye West's verse has stirred quite a bit of commotion this past week because of some of the mentions he has in the verse. CyHi is okay. I guess it's cool to hear that these two have linked back up after they had a little bit of a falling out. I'm not going to overhype it. It's not amazing, but it's certainly listenable. It's certainly listenable. Moving on from there, believe it or not, and this is like maybe been the most unlikely and surprising thing all week. And I do recommend this track. I do recommend a listen because it is really odd. But Alt J took maybe one of my least favorite tracks from the new record, and they had the band Code Orange remix it. And now it's this heavy sort of industrial kind of metallic revision of the song, and it doesn't sound anything like the original, and it's totally whacked out. And I just recommend it. It's kind of insane. I recommend hearing the original and then comparing this, and just on its own, it's a decent track, but it's just kind of mind blowing to hear the revision, just the changes this track underwent to become what it is here. All right, and let's move into the tracks that I thought were the best tracks of the week. Let's make no more buts about it. Ba-bam! Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings have a new, wonderful, passionate, tear-inducing, and inspiring gospel-flavored track out titled Call on God. And Sharon Jones' piano performance here is great. Her vocal performance here is fantastic. It's unfortunate that we lost her in, such an untimely way. Rest in peace, of course. But a lot of this stuff that has been sort of teasing toward this posthumous record that's going to be coming out very soon is some of the best stuff the band has recorded. It's just unfortunate that it's going to be released under these conditions, but still, no better time than now with this forthcoming record to celebrate Sharon Jones as an artist, as the enigmatic singer that she was, and as one of the most significant torchbearers for the sound of classic soul today, at least in this day and age anyway. Moving on from there, Ought has a new single out titled These Three Things. Now, Ought is a band hailing from Canada, I believe, or at least I know that they were affiliated with Constellation Records for a little while. Ought band. Just want to double check that really quick. Don't want to mess that up on you guys because I know that these locations are important. Yes, they're from Montreal. I knew that. Really loved the band's last record, and I thought that they had sort of increased the instrumental performance on there, the vocal performances, and the lyrics were more interesting. The band's music is really art rocky, post-punky. It's really erratic and very wordy, very poetic. And this new track of theirs kind of has a bit of a dancey, almost new wavy kind of feel to it. But I feel like they maintain a lot of their eccentric qualities in the process of making an overall more accessible sound. And I love that. I love it when a band can pull that off. I hate it when groups go more mainstream. They take their sound, they try to dumb it down for a lower common denominator, and in the process, everything that made the group special just kind of disappears. Not the case on this new track over here. And the music video is completely whacked. I'll say that. But I love the groove on this thing. Love the danceable groove. I think the change up in the vocals is really nice too. And just the grooves, the instrumental flavor. It's still weird. It's still odd. It's more danceable now, more poppy, but still a lot of fantastic and sort of left field qualities in Aughts music that continue to make the band special. Moving on from this track over here, N.E.R.D has a new track out titled Lemon featuring Rihanna, and it's freaking amazing. The production, of course, is off the friggin' wall, super groovy, super fruity, super colorful, and Rihanna has this excellent rap performance, like this excellent and long, like she dominates a lot of the track. Who knew she had it in her? She totally dominated the track. Pharrell, of course, on the track is fantastic. I really don't have anything negative to say about this track, honestly. It's just nonstop fun. It's very gutsy. And it's nice to hear a group that, sort of made a name for themselves years and years and years ago actually kind of come back with a debut single that just is a splash, man. It's a friggin' splash. I'm going to leave it at that. Excellent single. Excellent single. Really liked it. Kemba, FKA, YC the Cynic has a new track out. Super lyrical, super jazzy, excellent hip-hop track. Support this dude. He is easily one of the best in the underground right now. A lot of you may have remembered him when Kendrick linked up with him for a little bit. And I feel like he's fallen off the radar of a lot of people since then. Please do not let that happen. This dude is a super talented dude, and he has a new project on the way. Please do listen to it. I have no doubt in my mind that it is going to be worth your while. Moving on from there, Gorillaz have a new track out. A new post-Humans track. Like nearly every single song that comes out after the release of this album is like better than most of the material on the album. It would have improved the record so much to cut some of the worst material and put some of the better tracks on there, including this cut over here featuring Little Simz, Garage Palace. And, sure, it doesn't have a strong hook. Most of the song is like Little Simz just like rapid fire rapping and totally killing the instrumental. But the instrumental is actually quite groovy, colorful, funky. Very much like chewing gum. It's very fun. It's very sweet. And just kind of liking the vibe and the direction and the chemistry that they have together. To me, the song didn't really need a big, grand sort of show-stopping hook because Little Simz' energy and her performance and her lyricism just kind of sold the track for me. So, I don't know, man. Every single track to come out from this Gorillaz album afterwards, again, I've liked them, but it's just really bittersweet because this is the stuff that should have been on the record. Converge have a new track out that I'm not going to talk too much about. It's titled A Single Tear. It very much goes in the same kind of post-hardcore direction that a lot of the material from their last record did. And I'm putting it in this section, obviously, because I think it's really good. But I am going to review the album very soon, so I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to get too deep into it. And finally, this is going to be the last track. Aesop Rock has a new cutout titled Hot Dog? Hot Dogs, I believe. I want to double check on that freaking pluralization, of course. Yeah, Hot Dogs. Production is super off-kilter and weird and somewhat rickety, but in a cool way. Of course, Aesop Rock lyrically is off on another goddamn planet like he usually is. And all the respect in the world to him for that, though, because that's sort of what makes him such a one-of-a-kind MC. And although it seems like he's becoming a little bit more obtuse here, like he has typically been in the past. I feel like his latest record, which I loved, I thought his latest record was fantastic, is easily one of his most readable, accessible, and personal albums to date. And now it kind of feels like he's sort of drifting back into that more obtuse direction, which is cool. Hardcore fans, longtime fans are probably going to enjoy that a little bit more, kind of feel like this is more familiar stomping grounds, that sort of thing. And just kind of liking the vibe of the track, liking, of course, his flows, which are always fantastic, always intricate, always complex. I wish the song instrumentally did change up a little bit more, but I do think this is a really good mouth-watering debut single for this forthcoming project he has coming out. And that is going to be it, guys. Those were the best, the meh, and the worst tracks of the week. Remember, these slip mats are available now and will be available for a limited time. We do them in short runs, so when there will be more slip mats in the future, I'm not entirely sure. But we have a few hundred right now for sale that are accessible via the link down there in the description box, along with our Amazon Associates link, which I will remind you not only works in the US, but in Canada, in the UK, much of mainland Europe, and in Japan, and our Turntable Lab link too. All right, guys, that's going to be it for the weekly track roundup, the best and worst tracks of the week. Thank you for watching. Love you, love you, love you. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Cool? Next review. All that. Blah! Forever.